Some people look old at 50, while others are still alive and kicking at 70. What's the secret? In this revealing video, you'll discover the 6 pillars that determine your real biological age, the one that the mirror, your body, and your mind feel, even if your ID says otherwise. Let's talk about food that rejuvenates or ages, the truth about sleep and cell regeneration, the power of light and constant movement, social relationships that prolong life, breathing that calms and rebalances, and purpose as fuel for vitality. An emotional and scientific journey for those who want to live with health, energy, and autonomy, even after 60, 70, 80. Subscribe to the channel for more content on longevity, nutrition, well-being, and health in old age. Share this video with someone who deserves to feel alive again. It's not uncommon to see someone in their 50s lamenting, "I'm getting old," while on the other side of the spectrum, a man in his 70s is running, traveling, learning a new language, and waking up early to walk before sunrise. The question seems simple, but it belies one of the most profound questions in modern health. Why does our chronological age so rarely match our actual age in body and mind? This video is a dive into this mystery, and perhaps by the end of it, you will not only understand the difference, but also discover how to reverse your body's internal clock. The truth is that we don't all age the same way. 2 men born in the same year, with similar stories, can have completely different destinies. One with the energy and disposition of a young man at 70, the other dependent on medication and limited to 50. And no, we're not just talking about genetics. Cutting-edge studies in epigenetics, the neuroscience of aging, mitochondrial metabolism, and the psychology of longevity show that what determines our biological age is a set of accumulated choices, day after day, year after year, that shape our cells, our brain, and even our attitude toward life. But before we get to the science, stop and think. Do you feel old? Or are you just tired? Have you ever wondered if your diet, mental habits, and even the way you breathe are aging you faster than they should? Let's bring this to reality with an example. 2 women, both 68 years old. The first one wakes up at 10 a.m., has coffee with white bread, margarine, and sweetened milk. She spends the day watching TV, complaining about knee pain and taking 2 blood pressure medications. She avoids climbing stairs and walking. Her main vocabulary includes words like tired, pain, I can't do it anymore. The second one wakes up at 6 a.m., stretches, drinks water with lemon and ginger, then a smoothie with red fruits, flaxseed, and a handful of nuts. She goes for a 30-minute walk. She reads. She takes care of the garden. She has younger friends and makes plans for the week. Her vocabulary includes curiosity, energy. What else can I learn? They both have the same ID number, but their bodies, brains, and vitality levels live in different decades. The explanation? It lies in the concept of biological age. Chronological age is what the calendar says, but biological age is what your tests, your skin, your bones, your digestion, and your mood reveal. And the most fascinating thing is that it can be reduced. Scientists at Stanford University have shown that it is possible to reduce up to 11 years of biological age with adjustments to just 6 pillars. 1. Anti-inflammatory diet. 2. Regular deep sleep. 3. Light and constant physical movement. 4. Positive social relationships. 5. Conscious breathing. 6. Life purpose. We will explore each of these pillars throughout the video. And what's more, we will show how men and women over 60 are applying this and rejuvenating themselves from the inside out, even with a history of illness or a sedentary lifestyle. But first, it's worth reflecting. What do you believe about aging? Do you see the passing of time as an inevitable loss, or as a new phase of freedom, reconstruction, and vitality? Studies on neuroplasticity in the elderly show that what you believe physically shapes your brain. Elderly people with a negative view of old age develop neurodegenerative diseases earlier. Those with an active, hopeful mindset, open to change, preserve their memory, mood, and even physical autonomy for longer. In other words, the way you see aging already begins to shape your body. You may have inherited phrases like, "After 50, it's all downhill," "Old people don't learn anything," or "It's normal to lose energy." But this is not true. It's cultural. It's historical. It's not natural. And today we have enough science to prove that this idea is outdated. You don't have to accept exhaustion, apathy, or loss of joy as inevitable. The first pillar of lasting youth isn't in a pill or a secret kept by scientists. It's on your plate. Every day, 3 times a day, you have the choice between accelerating your aging process or reversing years on your biological clock. Science has confirmed that premature aging begins with silent chronic inflammation. And this inflammation, which doesn't cause pain but slowly eats away at your body, is fueled by foods that seem harmless. Have you ever woken up feeling bloated, lacking energy, with joint pain, or forgetting simple words? That's not age, it's systemic inflammation, and most people are fueling that inflammation with their breakfast. Let's start with the invisible villains. White bread, stuffed cookies, sausages, juice boxes, processed cereals, soft drinks, ready-made sauces, and light sweets. These foods are loaded with hidden sugars, hydrogenated fats, and chemical additives that the body does not recognize. The result? Your immune system goes on alert. Inflammatory cells increase. Insulin spikes. Your brain gets irritated. Your blood vessels harden. Your liver accumulates fat. And all of this is silent, but continuous. Now imagine this happening every day, for years. That's why someone in their 50s can look older than someone in their 70s. Now let's go to the opposite, longevity foods. In a study conducted by Harvard School of Public Health with more than 120,000 people over 25 years, those who consumed more berries, dark leafy greens, fatty fish, extra virgin olive oil and nuts reduced their risk of heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's by up to 38%. But it's not just about living longer. It's about living well. Anti-inflammatory diet has the power to increase cellular energy via mitochondria, reduce joint pain, improve focus and memory, regulate your bowels and mood, strengthen the immune system, prevent degenerative diseases. Here's a question that changes everything. Does what you eat make you stronger or inflame you? Let's look at a real example of transformation. Mr. Wacom, 69 years old, from Curitiba. He took medication for high blood pressure, cholesterol, and back pain. He was always tired. After changing his diet based on nutritional advice, cutting out sugar, starchy foods, and processed meats, and including fresh foods, water with lemon, nuts, digestive teas, and more vegetables, in 3 months he reduced his use of medication, lost 7 kilos, and started cycling again with his grandchildren. The most impactful thing, his disposition changed, and so did his joy. And you don't need to follow a complex diet. The secret lies in 3 simple principles. 1. Eat real food. If it comes from the land or the sea and not from a factory, it is the right way to go. 2. Reduce processed foods to a minimum. Read labels. If you don't recognize the names, neither does your body. 3. Respect your internal clock. Eat dinner early, sleep lightly, wake up hungry in the morning. This regulates your hormones and gives your digestive system a rest. Another powerful strategy is the inclusion of foods with antioxidant and regenerative action. Among the most studied for longevity are red fruits, strawberry, blueberry, blackberry, turmeric with black pepper, green tea, unsweetened, avocado, hydrated golden flaxseed, fish such as sardines and wild salmon. These foods activate cellular repair genes, increase the production of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant, and reduce oxidative stress that ages brain and heart cells. It's no exaggeration to say that your fork is your pharmacy. And what's more, the flavor of life changes with what you put in your mouth. A living diet brings living energy, and a well-nourished body doesn't feel aging, it feels movement. If there is one natural rejuvenation button that most people ignore or sabotage, it's called deep, restorative sleep. Sleeping is not just about resting. It is a true invisible surgical process, carried out every night by our brain and body. While you close your eyes, your body starts cleaning. It removes toxic proteins, recycles old cells, regulates essential hormones, and strengthens the immune system. And most importantly, it consolidates memory, balances emotions, and reactivates metabolism. So why are so many people aging prematurely? Simple. They are sleeping badly, and they don't even know it. Sleeping poorly is not just about not sleeping. It is also sleeping with your cell phone in your hand, shining blue light directly into your eyes, sleeping with the television on, sleeping after midnight, sleeping after eating heavy foods, sleeping with your brain racing without mental transition, or worse, waking up in the middle of the night and never reaching deep sleep. The University of Berkeley in the United States published a landmark study. Individuals who sleep less than 6 hours a night show a significant reduction in activity in the hippocampus, the area responsible for forming memories and making decisions. Furthermore, chronic sleep deprivation increases cortisol levels, stress hormone, hinders fat burning, reduces testosterone production, increases the risk of stroke, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. In other words, sleep is the cheapest and most neglected medicine for the elderly. But there is hope, and it starts with changing some simple but powerful habits. 1. The right time to sleep. The human body works according to biological rhythms that follow the solar cycle. Sleeping before 10 p.m. allows you to enter the so-called golden sleep, the most regenerative stage. Every hour of sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. 2. Darkness as an ally. Melatonin, the hormone that induces deep sleep, is only produced in the dark. Even a small light, like from a cell phone charger, can be a nuisance. Turn off all the lights. Use blackout shades or curtains. 3. A routine that prepares the brain. Create a ritual. Turn off screens 1 hour beforehand. Take a warm bath. Do some light stretching. Read something quiet. Breathe deeply. The mind needs time to transition from alert to restful. 4. A sleep-friendly diet. Avoid heavy, sugary, or caffeinated foods at night. Opt for teas such as chamomile, mulungu, lemon balm, or warm milk with turmeric. They activate the parasympathetic system, which induces relaxation. 5. And most importantly, avoid going to sleep with accumulated anger, fear, or sadness. Your emotional state directly affects the quality of your sleep. If something is bothering you, write it down in a notebook before going to bed. Clear your mind. Getting a good night's sleep is more than just resting. It's about recovering the youth you lost during the day. And it doesn't matter how old you are. A week of deep sleep can change your mood, your memory, and even your appearance. A study of elderly people from the University of Chicago found that participants who got regular deep sleep for just 10 days saw a 38% improvement in cognition, 22% improvement in mood, and 31% improvement in insulin sensitivity, all without changing their diet or exercise. Sleep is your silent ally. And when ignored, it is your greatest invisible enemy. But we're not just talking about physical longevity. Sleep also defines your emotional vitality. Waking up irritated, forgetting where you put your keys, losing the desire to talk or exercise. All of this may seem like a thing of age, but it is, more often than not, a result of a bad night's sleep. And this is where 70-year-olds differ from 50-year-olds. They prioritize sleep. They know that sleep is as important as food and movement, and they understand that to wake up happy, they need to fall asleep peacefully. If there is a phrase that defines the difference between aging well and aging badly, it is simple. A still body is a sick body. Old age doesn't just take its toll on the years you've lived, but also on the years you've spent moving around less. Most people associate exercise with going to the gym, overexertion, muscle pain, and obligation. But what the most recent studies show is that the secret to prolonged youth is not lifting heavy weights, but rather moving every day, even if it's in a light, simple, and enjoyable way. Daily movement regulates metabolism, oxygenates the brain, balances hormones, improves mood, and prevents sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass, which is one of the main reasons why many elderly people lose their autonomy. And it doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, the simpler and more consistent, the better. Let's take an example. Mrs. Marlene, 73 years old. She had been considered sedentary for 10 years. She felt pain in her knees and back, had high blood pressure, and thought that exercise was not for her. She started with a 10-minute walk inside the house. Then she moved on to walking around the block. She included seated stretches, breathing exercises, and little by little, light dance classes. In 6 months, her pain was reduced by 70%. She stopped taking 2 medications, and today, she is part of a group of elderly people who dance in public squares on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's not a miracle. It's biology in motion. Movement activates mitochondria, the energy factories of our cells, and causes the body to produce hormones such as endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, which are responsible for feelings of pleasure, motivation, and well-being. But it's not just the body that thanks you. The brain does too. In a study by Columbia University, elderly people who walked for 30 minutes 5 times a week showed an increase in volume in the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory. In other words, moving the body strengthens the mind. So if you are wondering, but where do I start? The answer is, with whatever is possible. Here are simple moves that rejuvenate. Walk 20 minutes a day, even indoors, in circles if necessary. Go up and down stairs slowly, stretching when waking up. Dance to oldies for 10 minutes, using resistance bands while sitting in a chair. Exercises with a ball, stick or water bottle. Gardening, sweeping the yard, washing dishes with care and upright posture. It's not intense movement that keeps you young. It's constant movement. In fact, there is a new area of science called gerokinesis, the study of ideal movements to slow down aging. This discipline shows that the secret lies in the diversity of physical stimuli: balance, light strength, coordination, and breathing. What's more, research shows that seniors who move around in groups, such as in group classes, walks with friends, or community dances, have a lower risk of depression, higher self-esteem, and less cognitive decline. Because the human body was made to be in movement. And movement, when repeated with joy, becomes life in expansion. Old age is not synonymous with fragility. It is often synonymous with lack of mobility. And losing mobility is one of the biggest triggers for emotional decline in old age. When a person stops moving, the brain understands, I am no longer needed, and the process of fading away begins. But you can reverse this at any age. Even those who have been still for 20 years, by moving consciously for 10 minutes a day, activate renewal circuits. And this is not motivational speech. This is neuroscience applied to aging. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to fall apart emotionally after being alone? How a widower becomes ill weeks after losing his partner of decades? Or how a poorly managed retirement turns into depression? Science already knows. Loneliness makes you sick. Connection heals you. The Harvard study of adult development, the longest-running study ever conducted on happiness and longevity, concluded that the quality of interpersonal relationships is the strongest predictor of health and well-being in old age, above genetics, income, or occupation. Being surrounded by people who listen to you, respect you, encourage you, is literally a remedy against premature aging. People with positive social connections have less chronic inflammation. They produce more oxytocin, the hormone of empathy and regeneration. They age with better mental health. They have greater resilience to serious illnesses. They live on average 7 to 9 years longer. Now stop and think. Who are your connections today? Do you surround yourself with people who lift you up or drag you down? Do you talk about dreams or just complain? Do you still laugh with someone? Maybe the secret to feeling young isn't a new treatment, but a new group of people. Breathing seems automatic, but breathing well is an act of youth. Most adults breathe shallowly, quickly, and anxiously. The body lives in a state of alert. This accelerates cellular aging, unbalances blood pH, robs the brain of oxygen, and impairs digestion, sleep, and mood. The practice of conscious breathing, breathing in slowly and deeply through the nose, expanding the abdomen, and exhaling slowly through the mouth, activates the parasympathetic system, which reduces stress, relaxes muscles, improves circulation, and rejuvenates organs. 5 minutes a day. That's all you need. Practical exercise. Inhale, counting to 4. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly, counting to 6. Repeat 5 times. This simple exercise, done every day, can change your energy, your blood pressure, your focus, and your relationship with your own body. And here is the pillar that few talk about, but everyone misses: meaning. What makes you wake up in the morning? What drives you beyond survival? Studies show that people who have a purpose, even a small one, experience less cognitive decline, less pain, more happiness, and greater longevity. Having a purpose is not something grand. It is having a reason to follow, a grandchild to accompany, a plant to care for, a book to finish, a group to help, a story to write. The secret is not to live long, it is to live with meaning. Chronological age is inevitable, but how you age is a daily choice. You can feel old at 50 or young at 70. It all depends on how you feed yourself, sleep, moves, connects, breathe, and live with purpose. Your body clock is not in your hands, it is in your habits. And today, as you finish this video, you have an invitation. It's not about looking young, it's about living with energy, joy, clarity, and autonomy. While most people wait for miracle cures, you have access to 6 keys to vitality that are within your reach. Use them, because youth doesn't end with the years, it ends with giving up, and you're still here. So there's still time. Share this video with someone who deserves to feel alive again.